Philippines for the 2022 AVC Cup for Women. This is now match number 11, and it features Iran and Vietnam. Let us now meet the officials for this match. First referee, Jocelyn Del Rosario from the Philippines. Second referee, Bae Sunok from Korea. It is now time to meet the starters. First, for Iran, setter number 6, Shabnam Alikhani. Opposite hitter number 10, Maide Borhani. Outside hitter, their team captain, number 11, Masa Kadkoda. Middle blocker number 14, Puran Zare. Middle blocker number 16, Tamine Dargazani. Outside hitter number 18, Elahe Pursale. And their libero number 5, Mohadese Moshtagi. Head coach for Iran is Alessandra Campedelli. Let us now meet the starters for Vietnam. Outside hitter, their team captain number 3, Tran Thi Tang Thuy. Outside hitter number 7, Pham Thi Nguyen Ang. Middle blocker number 9, Tran Thi Big Thuy. Opposite hitter number 11, Hoang Thi Q Tring. Middle blocker number 15, Nguyen Thi Tring. Setter number 19, Duan Thi Lam Wan. And their libero number 22, Nguyen Thi Kim Lien. Head coach for Vietnam is Nguyen Thuan Kiet.
All right, teams getting ready, and so are we. We're looking at the lineups for both teams. I noticed that this is a little bit different from the team that was sent to Hanoi, or that was playing in Hanoi, the home team, no? Sila yung iba yung team na nag-silver in the SEA Games. A couple of new players, so they're going to get some international experience. But of course, much of the starters in Team Vietnam are the familiar names to all of you. And Iran will score first.
Well, you know, Iran really known for their blocking, especially against a very young Korean squad, wherein they beat them in straight sets. They had like 9 blocks in that match. So for Vietnam, I think they're in familiar territory because they played against China, in which China also led in terms of blocking, like 12-2 in the entire match. So Vietnam will actually make the adjustments given the advantage of Iran.
But you heard that solid double block there by Han Ye. I mean, we're about 2 tiers up from the action, and we really heard that ball, the pounce on that ball, and that is what we're going to be expecting. Iran is coming on very strong here. Now a service ace, a couple of huge blocks there, and now an ace. And Vietnam still looking to get on the scoreboard here. Iran 3, serving 0.
Well, early on, you can see the advantage of Iran serving well and blocking well. So that's one thing. If you're Vietnam, you have to acknowledge and try to adjust accordingly.
And of course, service or any kind of errors, unforced errors, you don't want. But there is a challenge very early. We've seen a lot of challenges here, no?
Well, if you're given the opportunity to use your challenges, why not?
Tsaka siguro they want to break na rin the streak here, no? Anything that will kind of break the momentum of Iran. Tignan nga natin. Well, that is no question a good ball. So it's worth putting the challenge out there. That was a ball called inside, and Vietnam is on the scoreboard.
you know, those videos wherein you see the slow-mo, it's actually kind of annoying when it's clearly in and then you need to challenge just to make a point, right?
And that error coming now from the side of Iran. Vietnam with its second point. And T4 is at the service line. 6'3", we mentioned the team captain of Team Vietnam. She's an international star.
Yeah.
Si T4. Kilala na yan sa buong mundo, lalo na sa mga volleyball fans. Pati sa atin dito, all of you who are tuning in early, I know many are really excited for our main game tonight. The Philippines going up against China. But if you are joining us early, we're glad you are on hand. It's a fine day to just stay inside, enjoy the action on your TV sets, away from the rain.
Oh, and as you were saying that on cue, you were praising T4, and you're saying she is an international superstar. She just scored an ace.
Let's see if she can make it two. She stepped on the line, it seems, and our lines judge onto that. Quick eyes and foot fault by T4.
You don't see that a lot,
Yeah,
right? The foot faults.
we haven't seen it in a long time, not even in the local leagues. Pero nakita mo kasi yung buwelo niya, yung parang talagang yung style o yung kanyang jump serve. Well, she puts her whole body into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the motion's really forward.
Forward. Iran will score also on that serve. We still have challenges coming from the side of Vietnam. As we know, as long as you get the challenges right, you can just keep going. They only limit if challenge mo at hindi pumasok. I think you get one chance per set. We have to check. I need to check the rules on that. But I do know that for as long as you're challenging and getting the calls in your favor, you can just keep challenging.
Well, normally, what we know, okay, you're right, we need to check it. A team is allotted 2 challenges, and then if it is unsuccessful, you have 1 left, and so on and so forth.
We'll check that and we'll let you know. But so far, if that is the case, Vietnam early using their 2 challenges already.
But because they were successful earlier, they still have 2. Yeah.
Yun na. Our referees, Jocelyn Del Rosario, very proud to have our Philippine referee there. And yes, there is a block touch. And Vietnam, once again, calling that one right, getting the point. And it's now tied ball game early in this first.
Oh, great challenges by Vietnam. 2 successful ones at that.
It's Jin there with the serve. Let's see the setup here. Somebody's on or at the net. I think that was number 7, An. Called up for a violation there, Iran. The 1-point lead. They led early. They came in strong. Bumulusok ang Vietnam. Nakita natin. Talagang nagparamdam kaagad. Pero Vietnam has settled down, found their footing, and they are now just a point behind Team Iran. Service errors from both sides. This time Iran serving it out, and that is Hanya, number 14, our veteran from Iran. She's 26 years old.
Well, she's, you know, when I saw her go up to serve, she looks so familiar. So she is one of those who have been with the team, I guess, for quite some time.
Oh, look at that. Great attempt at a save by the libero of Vietnam. Couldn't keep it in play, though. And now Iran still with the lead, but just by a point.
Yeah, early on here in the first set, you can feel both teams just feeling each other out. We thought actually Iran had an advantage at the start, but then you're right. I mean, Vietnam found their bearings, and now it's a pretty close set.
Interesting also to see how this setter will perform for Vietnam. This is not the setter that we're familiar with, so they have a new setter coming in for the team. She's been with the team, but she is now starting for Team Vietnam.
Well, you did say at the start of the game that a lot of these coaches like to shuffle their lineups and try to see which ones, you know, can fare better against their opponent. And case in point, as you're saying.
Yeah, and if we have our stats right, looks like si Duan, number 19, or 1, Duan 1, the setter we're talking about is quite tall. It says 5'10". That is what the stats say. But anyway, looking down at the court, she has that advantage over the other setters. But we know the height advantage in general is on the side of the girls in red.
Yeah.
That's Team Iran. All right, let's see if we can get a setup. Outside set here. That is down the line. Number 11, Masha, looking good with her second point.
Yeah, just finding that hole in Vietnam's defense. Nobody there to man that corner.
Masa, 6-footer, 29 years old.
Great serve.
6-footer, hindi pa siya yung pinakamatangkad doon. That one is called outside. So, T4, medyo nag-iinit pa lang. We saw her with the service ace, but also some errors, and we are at our first technical timeout. We'll be back.
The score 8-37.
Back at the Phil Sports Arena for our continuing coverage of the AVC Cup for Women 2022 edition. First time the Philippines is hosting this one. Chikiro Apuno with Noreen Go, and we are watching Iran and Vietnam go at it for the second of our triple header. That's a nice back row attack.
Oh, good save.
Alam mo, hindi pa tayo nakikita ng talagang maayos o maiging rally. A proper rally or proper setups, a lot of off-system plays. And like we said, Vietnam, parang they're a little bit listless. I'm missing the, just the energy that we're used to seeing from Vietnam.
Well, prior to that first technical timeout, you were mentioning T4, hindi pa umiinit. Now, I think I've been watching the games that they've played, talking about Vietnam, and that is the Waterloo of T4. I mean, she always starts out pretty slow, but then when she gets into the groove, I mean, she's,
watch out,
like you said, an international superstar.
Grabe. That's a good double block there, but great coverage by Iran. Again, back row attack, and ball right back to Vietnam. One there, setting up T4, and she is getting hot. That's a nice cut shot, a point. Number 2, so number 3, that's third point for T4 now.
She had something to say with our first referee after that, but she got that kill, but it's still not the usual powerful hit. It was like a cut shot.
Oh, she's got a lot in her arsenal. She is here to entertain. Number 3, Tui. We call her T4 because that's how she is known. But those who are just new to volleyball are meeting Team Vietnam for the first time. We're talking about team captain, number 3, Tin Tran Tui. Tui is the name on the back of her shirt, and she is the star of Vietnam. But of course, we have a lot of other players to watch. Team Vietnam.
Like number 9, you were asking because their names are actually the same.
Yeah.
Right? One name lang differ.
Number 9 there with the serve, Tran. She's another veteran, and Tui already scoring in a row. Parang narinig yata tayo. Forcing Iran to call a timeout.
Meglio in difesa, è chiaro che loro attaccano la diagonale quando attaccano dalla dietro, dobbiamo essere messe meglio, siamo troppo strette, loro non attaccano stretto, loro attaccano lungo nel campo.
ما میتونیم توی توپگیری بازم کار بکنیم الان توی زاویه ها میتونیم بهتر جایگیری بکنیم اونا
possiamo toccare molti più palloni, allora
خیلی
loro
میتونیم توپای
sbagliano.
بیشتری یا نگه داریم تو هوا چون اونا توی این الان خوبن دارن انتهای
Poi è chiaro, bisogna avere pazienza.
The score 11, serving 8.
And Vietnam listless no more. A 4-0 run we witnessed, and they are definitely in it. Make that a 5-0 run, and look at that. Now a 4-point lead by Team Vietnam. You can see the shift in the momentum here as Tran, 6-foot player, another tall one from Vietnam continues to serve here.
Yeah, you like the adjustments already being made by Vietnam. And we mentioned earlier it was a close first set, but then Vietnam just found a way to score off the defense of Iran.
Meantime, it's Tamine, number 16 of Iran, now trying to introduce herself to her opponents. Itong si Tamine scoring for the first time in that great cut shot. Oh, almost. We knew what she wanted to do. Si Juan trying to pull a fast one, but that was poor execution and a point for Iran. So now just 2 points behind.
Yeah, we always
Vietnam.
say, you know, these errors are caused by lack of conviction. I mean, obviously she wanted to go for that dump, but then when you overthink it, like when you think twice, actually, that's when the errors set in.
Tapos si Wonder now, gagawin ba niya uli yan?
For sure. I mean, for sure.
Dapat, no?
Yeah.
Dapat gawin niya uli. But that's another point. Another service ace. A lot of service aces. We saw that also in their game against Korea.
Yeah, that was a pretty dominating match between Iran and Korea.
Yeah. Of course, an error after the ace from Tamine.
I always say that's the commentary's curse. You praise them for an ace and then they commit the service error.
That one was untouched. Of course, Iran is looking for a check ball.
The coach doesn't agree. I saw her look at her bench and like she shook her head.
And still, we're still seeing a lot of broken plays here. These sets that the outside hitters make do with. Still looking for proper rally. Yeah, this is the kind of pace that we're seeing. Now we're seeing some exchanges, great defensive plays from both sides, and again it's the blocking of Iran. And this is how they were able to get an early lead when they were blocking well. And itong si Hanye just towering over everybody. Such a tall player for Team Iran.
Yeah, and for Vietnam, you have to know that, you know, Iran is relatively a taller team than them, so coverage has to be there. You have to expect the blocks to work.
Well, Vietnam has the lead. They have been able to protect it, and that's because T4 has decided she will be scoring now, and she has. It's 6 points now for Tui, team captain.
Great serve.
And this is going to be chance ball for Vietnam. One. Quick. And that one looked like it was long, but it was a last touch. Iran, it seems, and Vietnam will get to 16 points first. We'll be back. 16-12 Vietnam with a 4-point lead now in this first frame. Chiki Iroa-Puno with Noreen Gold. We're expecting this to be a very tightly contested second match for today. I don't think this is going to go over easy.
Well, if the first game was any indication of the day ahead, the fans, the Filipino fans, must be hoping that it will carry over till the game between China and the Philippines.
Eh, alam mo naman ng mga fans, kahit pamorningan tayo dito, walang problema.
Yeah.
The first game, as we look at that tip there, and it looks like there is going to be, is there a violation there or another challenge or? Oh.
Yeah, I think it's an
Iran will get it.
overreaching.
Yeah, there is a violation called against Vietnam.
Well, the first referee Josie, actually already signaled Vietnam. Then she realized, okay, it was overreaching. She changed it
Changed her
immediately.
mind. And T4 working hard even in the back row there, but not good enough. And that's a point for Madi, number 10 of Iran, the first point.
Yeah, but what a dig there. Great defense being displayed by Iran.
That set it up. And Elahe now with a serve. Her service error, just a bit outside.
Oh, yeah, we can sense here for Iran the errors creeping in.
Yeah.
You know, they'll score points, but then they'll give up errors. So that actually stops, you know, the growth of the team because they look like they started out strong, but right now kind of slow.
Yeah. We're looking for the blocks, the offensive blocks that we haven't been seeing. The way that they know to score, but there was a fairly easy attack to stop, but still a point for Iran. Vietnam couldn't do much about that one. Masa rather, with her third point. Iran still behind by 2.
Good serve.
Nice reception there by the libero of Vietnam. There's the block, but good coverage by Vietnam. From behind the attack line goes T4, and that is called outside, but there is a check ball.
Yep.
Vietnam will get that point.
Yeah, I think the first referee overruled the linesman because the linesman signaled out, but yeah, she called it a check ball.
No challenge. And so Vietnam with a 3-point lead now and the serve. One-handed set, and really the advantages of being tall. It's easier to just get a ball over kahit masama ang balik sa'yo.
Yep.
See if Owen gets this. Another one from back row. Great dig by Iran. And the rally we've been waiting for. Running attack. That one escapes Iran's libero, and that's a point for Thuy, number 9 of Vietnam.
Well, we saw a lot of that in the match between Vietnam and the Philippines, a lot of those slides, so they can go to that. You know, they've been successful against other teams. They could go to that against Iran.
And we have a timeout.
Stiamo difendendo un pochino di più le palle corte. Quando quindi va bene quello sul pallonetto, ok? Però adesso dobbiamo essere pronti anche sulle lunghe, non possiamo essere già così, dobbiamo essere così perché le palle lunghe si difendono con le mani alte.
داریم الان روی توپای کوتاه توپگیری میکنیم، خوبه رو جا خالی داریم خوب توپگیری میکنیم، ولی توپای انتهای زمین و بلندم فراموش نکنید، نمیتونه دست
Okay?
بسته
Primo,
باشه.
seconda cosa, quando battono spin più distanti.
بحث دوم، اگر سرویسشون قدرتی زدن یکم فاصله‌تون رو بیشتر کنید.
And we get a little bit of the huddle there on the Irani side. We noticed, of course, all of you noticed too, the Alessandra Campidelli, the head coach, is Italian, and there has to be a translation that happens after she gives her instructions, and I don't know if that's a factor. That's something that might be a consideration, and it's a little bit of it's a factor, you know, it's something else that, that, let's say, Team Vietnam doesn't have to struggle with, but it doesn't have to be a disadvantage.
But then, like you were saying, that it limits the time. The coach, you know, you want to give instructions, but you can't give a lot because that needs to be translated.
And some things might also be lost in translation.
That's true.
Diba? Baka meron kang gusto sabihin in Italian na hindi mahanap in Farsi or in the language of the Iranis. But you know, they're used to it. This is a system. They have this coach, and I'm sure they've worked things out. They don't want it to be a factor. Looking again at the world rankings, Iran definitely in a better position than Vietnam. Iran in 74th versus Vietnam, who is in 84th place right now in the world. Interesting also for these teams who will be seeing action against the world number 4, China, Japan is also up there. So good experience for all of them. Korea, we were talking about it earlier. They sent a very young team who's in it really just to get the international and elite volleyball experience.
Yeah.
So it's, you know, you get all sorts of W's, all sorts of wins just participating in a tournament like this.
Yeah, I mean, for Korea, it's a high school team. The average age is like 16, 17, something like that.
We have a timeout.
bây giờ như thế thôi, không thay cặp nữa. Bây giờ tôi sẽ thay cái Xuân vào chỗ Trinh cho đỡ 1 nhá, không thay cặp nữa. Chú ý cầu đôi, 21 người vẫn còn chưa có gì cả, cứ bình tĩnh cắt đi nhé. Thay một. Phú Công vẫn chỉ bám 1 thôi, cầu đôi Phú Công bám 1, cố gắng quyết liệt đi.
Vietnam already with a 4-point lead, getting closer and closer to that 25-point mark in this first set. If you were to second guess Iran's coach, what do you think they need to do? I think it's really just, I don't know, it's the blocking that they know that they do well, and we haven't been seeing much of that.
Yeah. I mean, a little bit, you know, a couple of blocks throughout the set, but it is their advantage, and yeah, we haven't felt it in quite some time.
Meantime, Vietnam just finding their groove. We talked about that slide that worked so well in the SEA Games. You know, that's something that we know Vietnam has got in their arsenal. And Thuy, number 9, scores again on that one. Vietnam now just 3 points away from winning this first set. They have a 5-point lead.
Yeah, well, we can see really Vietnam right now, at least in the first set, they're comfortable. You know, they're comfortable already. They're receiving well. So a lot of different plays that we are witnessing, and they're using that to their advantage.
And then we see an attack error coming from Iran also. So it's getting under their skin na rin, no? Parang nagkakaroon na rin yung errors, hindi na rin pinipilit, or it's really organic. It's unforced.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's one thing they have to correct, talking about Team Iran.
This is quite a run we're seeing from Vietnam again, and a botched play. Iran trying that running attack, and again, this is the off system here. Vietnam will set up a quick, and that one is good enough. Number 9, Thuy scores again. That's point number 5 for Tan Thuy.
Yeah, well, great ball distribution really by Vietnam here in the first set.
Absolutely, things just really took a dramatic change. Iran looked so good in the beginning of this first frame, and now they're on the brink of giving this one up. So many chances for Vietnam to win set point, and Iran just makes it easy for them, just gives it up. 25-17, the final score for this first set, and we will break it down when we come back. We will break it down a little bit now. Okay.
We will stay on
We will
air.
stay on air. And yeah, we were saying, no, nagpalit yung pace, nagpalit din yung momentum, shifting from Iran to Vietnam. What did you notice?
Well, I think what happened in the first set kind of defied our expectations, because we expected this match to be close as how it started. But then we didn't see really Iran's brand of volleyball. You know, a lot of blocking, great defense, great serving. They committed a couple of...
Like you said.
Yeah, well, let's look a bit at the numbers here. 25-17, look at the aces. They started out with those 2 aces, and then never came after that. Attacks, boy, Vietnam, we said they were comfortable, and they showed it 15-6. Opponents' errors by 2, 7 for Vietnam, 9 for Iran. That's one thing they have to correct, really, because we felt that during the middle part of the first set to the latter part, they couldn't get their rhythm. So Vietnam just steamrolled there in the first set.
Yung dalawang block ng Iran that came early in the set, hindi bumalik. Now we will take a break, and we promise to be back. Just stay right there. Second set just about getting started here for Iran and Vietnam. Vietnam snuck up on Iran here, who had the early lead, Noreen, and they won it handily, 25-17. So really Iran looking to change things and figure out what to do in the second set.
Yeah, for the fans of Vietnam, they have to be happy, because obviously they're taking from that match against China, although it's a losing cause, they lost, but in 5 sets, and they played really well, and they're showing it in today's game. Although they're ranked, like we kept saying earlier, they're ranked 84, Iran's 74, but they're playing like it's a different ranking altogether.
Parang panalo na yun if you play China to 5 sets. Diba?
Yeah,
Parang
I
for all
agree.
intents and purposes, it's a win. And we're hoping we go the distance tonight. I'm talking about Team Philippines, who will see Team China after this match, you know?
Yeah, we're hoping.
We have the home court advantage. That's something I'm sure will help the team. And I don't know what I haven't heard if some of the players will be back, because I know that Liza Valdez is sidelined. I don't know if we're getting Gia de Guzman back tonight. It looks like we are, so that's something to look forward to as well. And of course, it's their desire to please the fans, and they're riding high, creamline from their championship.
I totally agree. That's why, you know, we were listening to Boom say earlier, and we will say it again, you know, for those who are catching this match, come over. You know, there's still that match between China and the Philippines at 7, I think, right? At 7, and you still have time to come and support our Team Philippines.
Absolutely. Great time. Walang traffic. Wala pong traffic dahil
Wala nang
maulan,
coding.
saka wala nang pasok, walang coding. Kaya maganda. Pwede pa kayo humabol. Of course, you can also catch us on One Sports Plus, Smart Liga Play, Signal Play, and everywhere. And we hope that you come out and cheer for our team from wherever you are. Back to the game here. It's all even now in this early part of the second set, and at least we're seeing now some rallies, some set plays here. And that's a botched one for Vietnam. Iran will get a chance. An outside set and off the hands. Number 11 of Iran, Masa, will score her 6th point, and she is the go-to for Iran.
Yep, she is, and obviously they need more of that from her, hitting it smart off the blockers.
And T4 there with a great reception. Look at that libero with a stop. Masa again, she's stopped by T4. Again, libero doing her job.
Working hard.
Yes. And it's the same play. 3rd time's a charm for number 7, An of Vietnam. Her 1st point today.
Well, we got to commend actually both liberos for that matter, but Mohad Set, the libero of Iran, working hard.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Vietnam still gets a point.
And that's a nice reception from our libero from Iran. And it's going to be a free ball. Outside set again. It's the same one. That's what she likes. Going down the line. Masa with her 7th point. She just likes it simple, long, and slow, no?
Yeah, well, there's a bit of confusion because I saw the linesman signal that it didn't pass the antenna. You know, the flag signal. But then the first referee called otherwise. So there is a challenge right now.
It's about time for a challenge. We haven't seen one from Vietnam. They came early in the 1st set, early and often. They are 3 for 3.
No, and the linesman was correct because he already signaled it.
Yeah. Vietnam 3 for 3 with their challenges.
Yeah.
Dapat may score din yan eh, no? Kung sino magaling mag-challenge.
Panalo na si Coach Nguyen. Kiet.
Also a different coach from the one that we saw in the SEA Games. No? Wala si Coach Taito. And Iran just says, okay, we'll get the point back anyway. This time going cross court with that cut shot.
Yeah, that's too tough to handle. I mean, we know that they can do that. We didn't see a lot of that in the 1st set. So for the fans of Iran, you have to be happy, and you're hoping for more of that here in the 2nd set.
That's 3 in a row for Masa there. But again, the service error plaguing Iran. They haven't shaken that off since the 1st set. No?
Yeah.
Sayang lang all the effort that they are putting into these great set plays and attack kills that we're seeing.
Yeah, because we came out with some stats after the 1st set, 9 errors, and you know, I'm sure majority of that's actually from the service area.
You're right. And Aitak now scoring for Iran. starting off with that great defense. Ito yung pasa. And ito yung hindi natin nakita in the first set, no, Noreen?
Yeah.
Now we're seeing some good passes to the setter.
Well, that's a great set because one-on-one, just one blocker, and Iran gets that point.
And slow things up. Vietnam with a good read. Still Masad, but T4 is there.
Oh, this is one of the longer rallies so far.
And Masa just likes it. She just likes us a lot. Bigyan mo lang ako ng mahaba at mataas. And ako nang bahala, sabi ni Masa.
I'll take care of you guys.
Yep. That's her 8th point. And Iran with an early lead here in the second set, 6-5. They gave up the first set, 25-17 for those of you just joining us now. It was an interesting first set because it was very unpredictable. No? Yung parang kung the way it ended was totally not how it started.
Well, Vietnam just, again, playing a lot better than Iran so far in this match. But Iran ahead here in the second set. Well, not anymore.
And we see why one, the setter, will just look for T4 wherever she is. And that was a great pipe attack. Just great execution there by the team captain. 6'3" player of Vietnam.
And she is a player with very little reaction after that. It's like another day in the office. Okay, I got the point from the pipe attack, and that's it.
And Iran is looking for a check ball there. But it looks like it's clean, and it's Iran's turn now to challenge the call and see what gives.
Well, the challenge is block touch.
Iran now with a 1-point deficit in the second set, so they want to. It's much closer, no? Nakikita na natin at least the rallies are happening, and we have nice sets coming from both sides, nice exchanges. And what do you think? Malinis.
There's a clear no at the right lower corner of the screen.
Very pink no, unequivocally. And that's a point still for Vietnam, who leads now in the second set.
That's a great serve.
And it's still Masa just really working overtime here and off the block. Now Vietnam just learning how to play off the hands. Of course, count on T4 to score. And we have our first technical timeout with Vietnam enjoying a 2-point lead. We'll be back. Vietnam with a 2-point advantage in this second set after the first technical timeout, but Iran just in step with them, trailing by 2, and medyo balikan lang naman ang puntos dito. Much better showing for Iran in the second set.
Yeah, it has a lot to do really with the libero of Iran, number 5. Let's just say the first name, Mohad Deset. And also we have to, give a shout out also to the libero of Vietnam. That's Lien Nguyen, also playing well. So both liberos working hard. That's why the balls, they keep the ball alive, and the rallies are better than what we saw in the first set.
Actually, good balls, good first balls. Also giving Shabnam, the setter of Iran, a chance to set up mostly Masa, as we said, the go-to player today, getting ready to serve here. 7 points so far.
Yeah, and she is the captain.
That's a great serve there, allowing for them to set up again. Off the hands this time, that's number 12, Shabnam, with her second point. 5'11". Maliit pa yun, ha? Kasi malami sa kanila 6-footer. We were talking about this earlier. For those of you just joining us now, really, 5'7" is the shortest player, the set of Iran. So you said, ano ba yung ano, sabi mong kanilang average height?
For Iran,
Oo.
they're 5'11".
Grabe, average.
Average, and then 5'9" for Vietnam. And of course, we always have to say the reason why is because normally the liberos are a tad smaller or shorter than these tall players, a 6'1", 6'6". So it kind of brings down the average a bit.
I'm looking at the stat sheet here, or their vitals. 5'8", the libero of Iran, which is rare. Usually, parang for many of our teams, pang outside hitter na yung 5'8",
Yeah.
diba?
Well, you mentioned that the average height actually of Team Philippines is 5'7" or 5'8". So you're right.
Pero di bale, dinadaan natin sa lundag yun, diba? And we see, that's also such a joy to watch, even for other teams like Thailand. You know, hindi nila dinadaan sa, hindi tayo lumalamang sa height. But, you know how they all have the hops.
Yeah.
Back to the game here. Their error and a point for Vietnam. 11-8 now the score.
That's actually a pretty uncharacteristic error for Team Iran. That's number 12, Amini.
Nice reception. Oh, that came strong, but that's a great dig. And a push. Defense is there for Vietnam, and I knew what she wanted to do. Number 15, Trin wanted to try for the empty zone 6 of Iran, but medyo napalobo niya.
Yeah, you're right. She had the right thing in mind, but yeah, the implementation was just not there. But you have to credit Iran in that rally, keeping the ball alive, actually frustrating this Vietnam squad.
Parang gusto ng Iran mas mabagal because Vietnam likes the fast-paced game, di ba?
Yes.
Oh, that's still good. Nice. Heads-up volleyball for Iran. And T4 just outsmarting the girls in red, scoring easily there for 12 points.
Yeah, looking at one direction, putting the ball at another direction. Look at that. Disguised it so well.
Tricky. So tricky. So exciting to watch. Mga ganyan, that's what makes a superstar.
Yeah.
Again, oh, wow. Great effort there by Iran. Kala nila regalo na. But just T4 just keeps coming at them.
You know, that was really just a recycled play, and T4 gets the point for Vietnam.
Sayang, you know, it was a good heads up by Shabnam who averted a ano there, di ba? Ang regalo there.
Yeah.
But we have a timeout.
Le mani devono essere messe bene. Queste sono le cose che poi ci fanno allontanare.
حواستون رو جمع بکنید بچه‌ها، حواستون به دفاعاتون بیشتر جمع بکنید، به دریافت‌ها بیشتر جمع بکنید، چون کار همون کار ست قبلیه. یکم باید بهتر تو اینا کار بکنید.
Riprendiamo a fidarci, è chiaro, Aitak non cade al primo colpo con queste qua la palla. Non è un problema se non cade al primo colpo. Dobbiamo giocare, 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 stiamo difendendo di più.
به خودتون بیشتر اعتماد بکنید. معلومه که با اینا ضربه اول نمیخوابه، باز صبورتر باشید و بیشتر به خودتون اعتماد کنید. ایران!
We sense a little urgency coming from Team Iran, from Coach Alessandra Campedelli in true Italian fashion. They're very, you know, they're very expressive and passionate, and lumalabas yan sa coaching niya.
Yeah. I think, you know, I mean, we could understand, and we can't translate what the huddle was, but I feel it's more frustration on the part of Iran is because they're letting Vietnam dictate the tempo of the game so far. And we did mention that they're a higher ranked team, so supposedly, you know, you're the one dictating, but now they're letting Vietnam dictate.
Yeah. Let's see if they can score here. And really, it's Masa coming from back row. Is that going to be given as we take a look at, of course, the very busy Ricky Palou.
Yeah, and Coach Godfrey Okumu, whose daughter
is playing for Japan.
Yes.
Although Japan has a rest day today, I believe. No?
Yeah,
yeah,
I think so.
Okay, but you know how they come out here and scout each other anyway.
And you don't get this opportunity a lot to, you know, you have a whole week of just coming to the venue and enjoying great volleyball. So I'm sure, you know, all these coaches, even players, they want to come and just watch volleyball.
It's really been non-stop volleyball for us volleyball fans, diba? Starting with UAAP and VNL just coming right after. And of course, we just finished the PBL. We take a break as Vietnam gets to 16 points against Iran's 9. Back at the Phil Sports Arena for our continuing coverage of the AVC Cup for Women. We want to say thank you to our national team partners, PLDT Home Fiber, Ribisco, and Akari. AVC Cup sponsors, Lana Oil, Jersey Haven, Amigo Entertainment Technologies. We have our equipment sponsors, ASICS, Mikasa, and Seno. And we also want to thank the City of Pasig, PSC, Philippine Sports Commission, the POC, and the City of Taguig, our government partners. Of course, Signal TV, Signal Play, One Sports, and One Sports Plus, Smart Giga Play, our broadcast partners, and all of you for joining us. Chiki Roa Puno here with Noreen Go, enjoying the action for our second of the triple header we have for you today. Vietnam now with a commanding 8-point lead against Iran, 17-9 is the score. If you're just joining us, it was also an easy win for Vietnam, 25-17 in that first set. A 9-1 run for Vietnam, and things are looking very grim for Iran, Noreen.
Yeah, well, aside from, you know, the hitting errors, service errors, now miscommunication on the side of Iran, which is obviously at this level of play, you don't want to see those. You can sense already the frustration of these players. Maybe woke up at the wrong side of the bed, or, I mean, we don't know, but, you know, definitely that's not their brand of play. How about Iran?
And sabi nga natin, sunod-sunod tong mga laro. So maybe there's something to be said also about being ready for this type of tournament, this type of competition where you're just playing non-stop day after day. It seems like Vietnam mas sanay dun sa ganon.
Seems like it,
yeah. So based on their world rankings, this is an unexpected turn of events here with Iran taking a commanding lead in the second set after already winning that first. And Iran just lapsing into more errors. And you can almost feel the mood on the side of the girls in red.
It's like
medyo
they're
mababa
frazzled.
eh. Oo.
But we won't count them out.
Absolutely
you know, whatever
not.
happens, because yesterday's game, you know, the China-Vietnam game, after the second set, you're like, people are saying, okay, this is in 3 sets, because the second set was 25-6, you know, something like that. And then it reached 5 sets. So I'm not going to count anyone out here in this tournament.
I believe you. I'm with you there. Let's see with this timeout what the Iran comes up with afterwards.
Vi ricordo che se non riprendiamo a divertirci e giocare e a vedervi allegre e propositive, si perde senza speranza. Se invece iniziamo ad avere speranza, vanno in difficoltà, ragazzi.
میخوام یادتون بندازم که اگر از بازی لذت نبریم و نتونیم با روحیه و با انرژی و با مثبت بودن بازی کنیم، بدون امید میبازیم. این امید
sapevamo che era difficile.
ما که میدونستیم سخته.
Però non abbiamo niente da perdere adesso.
چیزی
Via.
برای از دست دادن نداریم.
You know, I don't speak Italian, but you do pick up a couple of words that are familiar to us. You hear Coach Campinelli talking about positivity, she's positivo, alegre, esperanza, talking about being happier and being more hopeful on the court, which we also mentioned is missing clearly. I mean, it's something that we, you know, can really observe from the girls in red.
But then you have to commend the translator there, really, because as she's talking, you can hear the translator just, you know, giving these instructions.
So there's also that struggle, but that is a very timely service ace from Shabnam. A needed boost for them.
Yeah, you're right. They need that. I mean, you like that also coming off a timeout. You know, hopefully that's the start of something big for Iran.
12 serving 20 now. We saw up to a 10-point lead earlier today. But just like that, T4 gets the side out, her 14th point already. We're only in the second set.
Yeah, again, another great set. And look at the way she angled her hit away from the blockers, really reading the defense of Iran so well.
We haven't been talking much about the blocking of Iran, really. I don't know if we credit T4 for figuring out how to go against it, and maybe also the lackluster performance of the front row of Iran. Just, this is their ace, yung kanilang blocking, no? But yeah, we're going to see that in the game stats. It should be telling at the end of the second set.
I think this is a good substitution, because Berry is also has been part of the national team for quite some time for Iran. But so you're saying that Vietnam scores another point.
Just a quick one. Cross court there for Vietnam, and now we have substitutions coming in for Vietnam. Number 18, Hue, is in for Tui. Combination attack. Sayang, that looked like it was going to be a good one. Just the errors now, unforced, is coming. Oh, look, I think there's going to be a tip, a check ball called. But
he quickly challenged.
We see Ref Josie Del Rosario signaling the all familiar charades. When she makes a square with her fingers, we know what that means.
And because we will go with the coach of Vietnam, Coach Kiet Nguyen, because he has been successful 3 times. So we'll go with your challenge.
And sabi mo nga, what have we got to lose? We have a 3-point lead. We've been challenging well. Now this is exciting to see. Oy! Oy! Sumablay si coach.
Coach! I was rooting for you, but that's it.
23-13.
Oh, but they get the point.
Yeah, the scoreboard says 23 and the...
Okay,
we're going to figure this out.
No, let's hear it. The first referee called a check ball. So they contested it. So we're with Coach.
That's right.
They got the point. It was a great challenge.
There was no check ball, and that is why we still have a flawless challenge record for Vietnam's coach, and we have set point.
Yeah. Apologies, we got confused there, but yeah, it was a good challenge.
Tai Tam Tung, the very able coach of Vietnam. It's become a sidelight, something that we've been really watching, how well he challenges the calls of the referees.
Ooh, what is it? Oh!
And that's one set point that was saved by Iran. 24-14, 10-point lead.
Yeah, but what an effort by T4 to go for that, try to keep it alive. A bit of miscue there to give that point to Iran, but T4 is trying to do everything.
Walang tamad-tamad sa kanya, no?
Yeah.
Kala mo, 10 na yung lamang. And they're already at set point, but still. And again, this set starting out so differently from the way it ended, which is a very convincing win for Vietnam, 25-14 for this second set. And di ba nakita natin, no, umpisa palitan sila eh. Maganda yung sa adjustments ng Iran after the first set. Pero lumaylay uli.
Yeah, I would say it's actually great coaching on the side of Vietnam. Obviously, they scouted Iran very well, even after that 5-setter against China, because they've been making their adjustments in terms of trying not to hit it to the blockers, not challenging that, finding their own strength. Quick plays, that's what they're doing. For Iran, it's really not their game, I feel.
Yeah.
Against Korea, they were just so dominating. We were expecting a lot of that today, but so far it's not there. But again, we will not count them out. Make a game out of this match versus Vietnam.
Yeah, take a look at go ahead with the stats.
Okay, let's look at the score. 25-14, obviously aces, equal, you know, 1 apiece. Attacks by 3 opponents' errors. There you go, Iran, 8 errors as compared to 4. Blocking.
And the blocks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
4-0.
I mean, we were expecting that to go the other way, where Iran would be dominating the block department, but not this time. Vietnam is doing better at the net, and that is probably the story that explains that convincing win by Team Vietnam. We'll be back for more of the action here. Set 3 coming up between Iran and Vietnam. Win third set now for Team Iran. The girls in red going up against Vietnam, who won that second set handily, 25-14. Welcome back to the Phil Sports Arena for our continuing coverage of the AVC, our second triple header for today. Philippines going up against China in just right after this game. I don't know if you're feeling three-setter here. Of course, we say we don't count Iran out. They know they have to win this fourth set. We know they have it in them. But looks like things is really going the way of Vietnam.
Yeah, I totally agree. But we have to give it to Vietnam. I mean, towards the end of that second set, we talked about some statistics. We talked about the errors of Iran. There was 8 as compared to 4. But then we have to give it to Vietnam because of that 4 blocks throughout that second set. That kind of changed the complexion of the match also.
Yeah.
Because I feel if you really take away the strength of your opponent, which is the blocking of Iran, you take it away and then you make it your strength. Normally, you end up winning that set, right? So Vietnam just really playing a better game so far here in this match.
Yes, well said, Doreen. And looking at the distribution of the Irani setter, si Shabnam, talagang si Masa yung pinupuntahan niya. And the other Shabnam also scoring a few points here and there, 4 points, but Masa, her go-to player, has been already stopped by Vietnam. Medyo na ano na siya, no? Parang na-target na siya.
Yeah.
And on the other hand, aside from, of course, T4, already with 15 points, we see Trin coming up with 8. We have Tui with 5 points. An, number 7 with 2. Mas maganda yung distribution on the side of Vietnam.
That's true. But that's why we said they look like the more comfortable team out on the floor. And as you were saying, that Trin again with the block for Vietnam. So they are using that right now.
Service error. We saw an ace today from Tui. Maybe a couple already, but she's also had errors as well. A couple of them at the serve.
Yeah, but then a great start for Vietnam. I think Vietnam wants to end this in 3 sets.
Again, a service error coming from the side of Iran. We go back to what we heard from Coach Campedelli, asking her players for more alegre, more speed, and more a more upbeat game, and a more hopeful game. She's saying, parang don't lose hope. Medyo they were listless and down, and visibly, really, parang losing their motivation. And this is something that they need to really get out of their system.
Well, what I heard Coach Campedelli kept saying was Esperanza, and you were saying it meant
hope. Yeah.
You can be a translator.
Mahirap yung ginagawa ng translator, nabanggit mo nga, no? Really, this is something that we notice is an issue perhaps for Iran, because you just have so much time, like you said, di ba?
Yeah.
Of course, this isn't the only time we're seeing international coaches or foreign coaches placed in different squads. A lot of Italians and the European coaches, and well, also players for that matter. So this isn't uncommon, where the language barrier is secondary to the skill that you bring in to the different teams. You will adjust, you'll make do, because we know the kind of caliber that the skill that Alessandra Campedelli brings in for the Iranian team. And maybe they want to infuse the Italian volleyball with the European style.
For sure. I mean, when we talked about the VNL earlier, Italy actually won the women's gold. It was Italy who won. So yeah, I mean, you like that people try to import coaches. I mean, I thought I think Japan was, I'm not sure if it's Japan or China, one of these Asian countries, I thought they're very close-knit. They want to stick to their guns and their local coaches. But then you see also, they import some coaches from Europe. So you like the way also these countries, their programs, you know, how they progress.
Huwag na tayo lumayo. Our team, di ba? We are benefiting from the European, not European, the South American, the Brazilian system. We know that Brazil has a very, very deep history in volleyball, and we know that they are a big, big volleyball nation. And with Coach Jorge de Brito, maraming natututunan talaga ang ating national team.
Yeah.
And back to the game here. Still just errors on the side of Iran. And that was Tui, number 9 now with her 6th point. And Vietnam again with the lead after the first technical timeout. We'll be back. Back at the Phil Sports Arena for our second game of 3 today. For our continuing coverage of the AVC. Shiki Iroapuno with Noreen Go, bringing you the action live. We invite you to come join us because there is a big game coming up. May oras pa. If you want to come out and enjoy live volleyball, the Philippines will go up against China right after this game, our main event for today. Vietnam already taking the first 2 sets. The looks of it, they want to go home early, get some rest. They've been playing they've been getting a beating here in the AVC so far. Talked about the 5-setter they played against China.
Yeah, but you know, for me, you know, I'm still hoping for the fans of Team Iran a different kind of game. I mean, maybe you did mention it seemed like they're more comfortable with a slow pace, but we're looking at maybe more blocking, more aggression, you know, or them being aggressive at the net. You know, we're still hoping for that to come out, but we have to give it to Vietnam. They look like the more focused team today.
Yeah. You know, if you come out of a match against China and extending it to 5 sets, that gives you a boost.
Yeah.
Parang it tells you, diba? It gives you a lot of confidence coming out here today against Team Iran. And again, a timeout.
Via, palla alta. Ok, aspettiamo saltare, la palla è distante da rete, aspettiamo saltare, le persone dietro devono fare un passo avanti, non deve sorprendermi con le pallette.
اگر برای های بال توپا بلنده و یکم از طول دوره اشکال نداره 1 ثانیه مکس کنی بعدش تکان بزنید.
Se poi tira alto e lungo e forte, brava lei.
اگر بخوابونه خب باید بیاریمش بالا. اگر هم انتهای زمین نخواد یه ثانیه توی ماه ها میگیریم گیمای بعدم مال ما. یالا
Back in 2019, Iran finished in 7th place in the Asian Championships, but they have been working on the program since 2010. We mentioned earlier, no, it's a lot of the familiar faces, so these players have been playing together, and they take their volleyball seriously. This is something that they want to be able to do better in. They're doing things with their program, bringing in a Italian coach, and so they're not going to go away. Iran wants to stay in this sport and really make their mark, at least in Asia.
And I'm sure they're gonna. Well, we have a challenge for Iran, but the men's team of Iran has more success in terms of their program. We saw them also in the VNL. A lot of upsets also. They gave a lot of upsets. So the women's obviously hoping to follow suit.
We beat Korea in 3 sets as we take a look at this. A successful challenge. It's time for Iran. That's something that they really need at this juncture. Trailing by 5 points now, just like that. This is a very quick series of points by Vietnam, and Iran trailing by 5 in this must-win 3rd set for them.
Yeah, some technicalities in terms of substitutions for Iran. But yeah, I mean, for Iran, these are the small victories. I mean, let's start with the challenge. We got the challenge.
Yeah.
It was a successful challenge. And see, how do you move forward from there?
And And you know, they beat Korea in straight sets yesterday, but then we also know that this is a very young Korean team that they faced yesterday, not quite the Korean team that they probably have been used to in other outings here in Asia. So, iba yung weight, yung bigat ng performance ng 5-setter ng Vietnam. Kahit natalo sila compared to the win of Iran against Korea.
I totally agree with what you just said. And you have to mention, again, Korea sent a high school team. So it just goes to show, wait for them like 5 or 8 years down the road. I mean, they're just gonna, you know, chill out here in the next few years, but wait for them.
And just looking at the scenario, the longer scenario for AVC, what does it look like for the Philippines with the different pools, the backing out of Kazakhstan? I guess the short story is the Philippines wants to end at least 4th place in their pool, which might be easy enough given the Korean team delegation that you talked about. So we are hoping for at least a 4th place win for the Philippines. Better if possible, but that will get them to the quarterfinals.
Right. I mean, it is possible. Let's not sound too overconfident, but it is possible that we get to the quarterfinals. But they still, I believe, have their work cut out for them against the very young Korean squad.
Big game coming up for Team Philippines. They're going up against China. We can't mention enough the excitement that we're already feeling with the crowd swelling a little bit here already at the Phil Sports. And we know why. And for those of you who already have your TVs on, wag na kayo magpapalit ng channel. Dito na kayo dahil maganda ang susunod dito. And this is our chance to get to know Iran and Vietnam. And T4, the international volleyball star, playing in our shores, which is such a treat for all of us volleyball fans.
Right.
Outside, but is it a calling for check ball? And a challenge for Iran because our referee, Josie Delasar, is saying it's clean.
I'm not sure if I'm correct, but I was looking at T4 and she said like she touched it, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see, look at the challenge, but she was like admitting she touched it, so no challenge anymore, but challenge is still there.
Very comfortable 10-point lead. I can even tell yes, says our video challenge. So that's a good one for Iran, and you're right. No surprises for T4. She knows, guilty as charged, sabi niya.
And honest. You have to give it to her.
Props to her. But Iran still trailing by 8. It's all important third set for them. 7 serving 15. Number 16, Tamine. The serve. Wala. What do you say?
Service out.
They're just practically handing the win over to Vietnam. We'll take a break.
Se dobbiamo sbagliare.
نیاز داریم به این کارا.
Dobbiamo provare a reagire.
باید یکم عکس عمل نشون بدیم.
Magsisimula muli ang pinaka-aabangang 2023 FIBA World Cup qualifiers sa August 25 to 30 versus Lebanon sa August 26 live. 2 a.m. po yan on One Sports with delayed telecast on TV5 at 11:15 p.m. At Gilas versus Saudi Arabia naman, August 29 po yan, live at 7 p.m. on One Sports with delayed telecast on TV5 at 11:15 p.m. Huwag palalampasin ang kapigil hiningang mga laro at ipakita natin ang ating suporta. Win for the Philippines, win for Gilas, and also win for the Philippine contingent here at the AVC. Excited to see how the Green Line team will go up against China. That is coming up next.
Well, I think really it's more of, you know that China's a strong team, but just play your game. I heard that in a huddle between Australia and Thailand. Australia's Coach Russell was saying, just play your best.
Yeah.
You know, these are your expectations. It's manager expectations.
Play your best, learn as much as you can. Diba? It's all about your takeaway, what you discover about your game and your strengths. Talking about strengths. Oh, that's great. We should see more of that from Shatnam. setter of Iran. A surprise there.
Yeah, I mean, that's obviously in her arsenal, but there's not a lot of that. We didn't see a lot of that today.
18-8. Vietnam leads by 10. This is a must-win third set. And these points coming from Shabnam, her dumps, they're few and far between. Hindi siya masyado nagpapakitang gilas. And she really hasn't been given much of a chance. The team, the whole team actually, we haven't seen too many of what this setter has in store. No? We see a lot of outside sets going to Masa, always finding Masa, the team captain, and really not able to explore the other options. Simadi also getting some touches with 5 points. Shabnam with 4 points contributing there also.
Well, a lull here. Coach Campidelli's actually kind of annoyed. I saw her facial reaction. She's like, she's getting annoyed with, I don't know, at first with the second referee in terms of the substitution, the protocols, and I'm looking at her now.
Hindi siya happy.
Yeah. Aside from the fact they're down by 10 points.
That's Sunok Bae, the second referee from Korea. Maybe a technical table here. I think they're trying to figure out, is it the substitutions that they're... (18-8). It's really all but one for Vietnam. It's going to be a very difficult climb for Iran if they want to get past this third set and play on for set 4 and 5.
Well, I feel whatever happens in this match, well, they are down by 10 points. I'll talk about Iran. Let's say they go on to lose this. I see a different team in the succeeding games. You know, a more polished one.
You know, parang waker-upper yata.
Yeah.
Magiging waker-up. Pagpagising sa Iran. Oh, a nice combination attack. That was a beauty. Trun there. 5th point. Great execution.
Actually, today we saw a lot of these combination plays. We did mention that game against Philippines, a lot of those slides, those running attacks. There are a bit today, but we saw a lot of combinations. So things looking good for Vietnam.
Trying out new things. But of course, sticking to their guns also. 19 points already for this player. T4, the star of Team Vietnam. Nice reception there by Iran, converting that one. Good action coming from the girls in red. Madi with her 6th point. More of that.
Yeah, exactly.
Now serving
Obviously, she can hit it over the blockers. You know, these are the things, these are the options that they can use.
Yeah, the advantages pag matangkad ka. And we know Iran has that advantage. Of course, that also plays against you in defense. I mean, you don't count out a top player like T4 who hustles in the back, but usually it's tougher to get down on the floor.
It's tougher to bend. It takes a longer time.
29. Lopsided third set here in favor of Vietnam. Again, the blocking working.
Exactly. I was going to say that. I mean, Vietnam blocking, that wasn't really an advantage that we mentioned in the pre-game, but they've proven us wrong.
21-9. It's just smooth sailing here for Vietnam. You can almost feel wala na yung esperanza na wala na. Again, point. Masa, she's the only one really who is able to come up with the goods here for Iran.
Serving for Iran,
Well, they're down by 11, but again, you know, it starts with a good serve. And we always say, we've been saying the entire match is really, if they can minimize their errors, this would have been a better match.
That's a good block, but great coverage there by T4. T4 again, just slowing things down. No, not good enough for number 18, Elahe, with an attempt at a pancake save. And Iran really in a precarious situation here with Vietnam leading by 13 points or 12 points. It's 22-10 now, the count here in this third set. Service break.
Yeah, service error there. But you know what makes T4 really a good player? She's a smart player. What you see with the drop, she's reading her opponent's defense. So it's not just all about power.
A smart, deceptive player, you know.
Yeah.
You never know what she's up to. A nice reception there by the libero of Vietnam. Asa going up again, and we have violation.
Another error for Iran.
Nothing, yeah. Nothing going the side of Vietnam, and the morale so low already. And I think you're right. It's time to just chalk this up to experience, regroup, and come out big and strong for the next game.
Which we know for a fact that they're more than capable of doing.
That was called inside by the lines judge. Vietnam get to rest early today. It'll take a miracle for Iran to get back into this match. Great save.
Yeah.
Too much for even the very capable libero of Iran, and fitting that T4 scores that match point, her 21st point today. What a showing for T4, team captain of Vietnam, and that's a win. Second win for Team Vietnam. 2-1 is their count now, their record. And that puts them in a very good position in Pool A. China so far on top with no losses yet.
But then, you mentioned how fitting it is for T4 to score that final point. You actually, we talked about it. Will fatigue play a factor because Vietnam came off a 5-setter yesterday? I guess not. No fatigue whatsoever with T4. She scores 21 huge points for Vietnam today.
They still have to play Korea. They will still, they still have to play Korea. This is already the third game of Vietnam, so we still have a couple of, we still have a game that we get to see T4, and of course they will advance. Usually in this level of volleyball, they should be able to really just bounce back.
Errors, they couldn't get their bearing, and even the defense and the blocking of Vietnam actually working.